yeah, so that was literally the live show we went. But yeah, like I say, yeah, I think we kind of knew some of the outcomes that were going to happen that night, as I said, because we'd seen a few clips. But yeah, that's what happened. And also, incredibly, on the UK side of things, for us here, Triple H showed up in ICW, Matt, which was incredible, wasn't it? To see him come out in that. He was with Pete Dunne. And yeah, if you're not familiar with them, there's actually been quite a few documentaries. I think BBC 4 or BBC 3 did a documentary on them, and you can kind of look those guys up. They've had a lot of people through. Drew McIntyre was there. He wrestled there for a while. And yeah, they've you know, Grado and guys like that. They've got so many talented guys there. They've had a lot of people go through. But yeah, out of nowhere, to think, Matt, Triple H, you know, WWE official, at you know, that he's positioned to come out on somebody else's TV, and you know, they've obviously given them all the rights here because he used the music. The commentators were allowed to use his name, you know, where he's from. I mean, for me, that is a refreshing thing, Matt, and I've got to say, that is much the better way to do it, because it helps give back to the UK, which has never been there before. Because, listen, in the past, this is what would happen. You would get a certain guy, like, I want to use an example, like someone like Paul Burchill or somebody like that. They pluck these guys, the promotions that had made them, that had given them opportunities, who, you know, have to literally scrape on a pittance to do a circuit in the UK or wherever they are. Like, they're so expensive to put those shows on when you haven't got the money. You're trying to give these guys the opportunities. Most times these guys are working for nothing, and the promoters are kind of like working 24 hours. You'd make these guys, and then WWE would just be like, yep, we'll snap that one up and put a contract on him, and there'd be no sort of like money going back the other way, even with like guys like Sheamus when he come in. But I feel now like finally Triple H, you know, has his head screwed on and realises that, okay, why is the UK scene becoming so popular? Why are we getting so many UK talent all around, from the likes of Zack Sabre and, you know, Will Ospreay? I know he's not been in WWE, but they would have heard of these guys. Like, why are the UK scene doing so well? Finally he's looked in it and said, it's because of the promotions over there that are making these guys, and we've got a lot of them over here currently. But Matt, for you, how big of a deal is that? Because I think it's a huge deal, in my opinion, the fact that Triple H showed up on there, and made that statement, and almost as if, you know, we're going to work with you rather than just sort of, you know, poach the talent around you.
Yeah, it's a massive deal, and no doubt that it runs even deeper than that as well, I believe, because there's no secret that, you know, the wrestling business is not as hot as it once was. Mm-hmm. But Triple H making an appearance like that is just something for the future. You know, you can just look and think, well, this could happen again at any place and at any time. And it gets the interest going, it gets a buzz going. All these little independents, you think, well, you know, it's not just WWE you have to keep your eye on. You have to keep an eye on all of them, because, you know, any superstar out there, any person wrestling could be the next big star. You know, you just got to keep your eyes on what's around you right now. And you could have seen the next big star wrestling in a little tiny hall down the road from you, and then 10 years later, you know, or 5 or whatever, or 2, and then he's wrestling for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Here's
what's really cool at the moment, and talking about that UK Championship, and the cool thing is Triple H has let Pete Dunne, and even let Tyler Bate before Pete Dunne won it. He let them, Matt, use that belt on various indie shows, and the only agreement they had to do was the fact that he said he wanted them to be, you know, Pete Dunne to remain a heel, and and Tyler Bate to be the face, because, you know, he said that should surely make sense for the indie promotion, because, you know, the fans would have seen them on TV. They've got a little bit of extra exposure, and I think that was the only agreement. But that's kind of cool. And you know what? It reminds me, Matt, of a throwback to the old territory days, where you get the one champion who goes around to all these different promotions defending on it. And that's been the cool thing about it. I mean, you know, these guys can be signed up to all these different promotions, go in, and you get your top guy facing them. And it's great for the home audience because they don't see them because, you know, this stuff isn't on TV. It's not as exposed as it is on America. You haven't got a network to watch it all on. So unless you're really going and seeking it out somewhere, you know, when you're in that live crowd, that's the first time you're seeing it. And that's kind of a cool thing. I think that's why it works well here. I think that's why our guys can literally learn more because, you know, you can go to one promotion, learn your craft as a face. You can go in another promotion where the fans are not familiar with you and, you know, test yourself as a heel without being too exposed everywhere. And I really feel like Triple H has probably looked at that and hopefully has picked up on that and where it could go because... no secret, Matt, I think WWE, they want to get something started. I certainly think Triple H does. Whenever I listen to his press calls, he seems like he's very for it, but he might be fighting against sort of internal issues going on there with getting that set up. But listen, until that happens, it makes perfect sense, Matt, to, I guess, you know, have that championship used and be active around all these indie shows, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Completely perfect sense. It's no doubt taking longer than they would have hoped to set something up, but you know, at least the wheels are turning, and you know, every time I'm checking back to read more information on it, a little bit more progress has been made each time. So it's just a waiting game, I guess. Sure.
Okay, well that's cool. We're gonna hit on there. Don't forget, guys, if you want to email us in tonight, hit us up at wrestleline@gmail.com. That's wrestleline@gmail.com. Any questions, any suggestions or feedback to the show is always welcome on our show. But now, Matt, again, more breaking news that we had very recently. I want to talk about New Japan now, Matt, and the Japanese scene is, you know, every time you think they, you know, how can they go on, how they survive without Shinsuke Nakamura and some of these other guys like AJ Styles when they leave, and the Bullet Club, and you know, they're so good. The system there is so good. They're always recreating themselves. And Wrestle Kingdom, Matt, I mean, it's what everybody's talking about. It's sort of becoming its own, even to us on this sort of the Western side of things. I think every year this goes on, Matt, people seem more interested in it as a wrestling fan. Like, you know, this is a big deal, and this is where I guess, you know, the wrestling of wrestling happens. You know, forget too much about the showmanship, but you know you're going to get some great matches there. And the you know, Chris Jericho, Matt, Kenny Omega. That there was a little spat feud going on Twitter, but people thought, well, that's as far as that'll go. But of course, Chris Jericho turns up. There's a little video package. And yeah, he's booked in for Wrestle Kingdom as we hear. But how crazy is that, Matt? I mean, there's no way I could have predicted that at the start of the year. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega going at it at Wrestle Kingdom, you know, next year. I mean, that's quite a big deal, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, completely took me by surprise. But this is why, you know, people just got to hold Chris Jericho in such high regard. He's the GOAT, you know, he's one of the greatest of all times. Mm-hmm. He can just walk into any company, you know, and you know he's a talent that you need. Even at the age of 47, you know you can put him against any top talent and you can have like a 5-star match. You know, this guy is like a once-in-a-generation kind of wrestler. So, you know, I'm pretty glad that he's going to go there and explore a new opportunity. I think it's been about 17 years since he's wrestled outside of WWE, so something fresh and exciting finally in the business, and great news for New Japan.
And of course, Chris Jericho, who of course was tag team partner with Lance Storm, you know, back in the day, you know, definitely familiar with the Japanese crowd. They definitely know who he is. And yeah, I mean, you know, unbelievable announcement, really. And in terms of the quality of match between these two guys, you know, it's really off the chain. It's again, you know, if you had this in WWE, yeah, it would be a big deal, Matt. There's no doubt about it. But let's face it, would WWE let Kenny Omega and Jericho do certain things their own way with that sort of freedom that they'll probably get in Wrestle Kingdom. Because I guarantee you, when they sit down and go through the match there, they're not going to have some booking committee watching over them, telling them, you've got this amount of time and you've got to do this, you've got to do this to this camera, you've got to do this reaction to these people. I mean, it's got to be so much different to have a little bit more freedom to make these matches what they become. And, let's face it, Matt, Wrestle Kingdom, from this year had some cracking matches on it. I mean, unbelievable matches. But already, Matt, we're seeing some matches booked for this already this year. And, of course, Cody Rhodes is going to be involved as well. Of course, another member of the Bullet Club who, by the way, the Bullet Club just goes strength to strength, don't they, Matt? I mean, they're never ending. Their merch is absolutely through the roof. I mean, unbelievable stuff going on there with them. But, he's involved. Of course, the Young Bucks are going to be involved. And recently as well, the UK's own Marty Scurll, I want to give a congratulations to him because it's no small feat to win a title for New Japan. You really do have to earn your craft. It's not like an Intercontinental Championship in WWE, and I'm not putting anything on the guys that have those belts, but in Japan there is a certain tradition, there's a code of honour still existing, and trust me, they don't just give belts out to make you look pretty. You've got to really earn them. For him to get that, I mean, that's a massive deal. And like I say, already matches being booked there, and we know Will Ospreay is going to be involved in Wrestle Kingdom as well with Marty Scurll, and I believe two others for the junior heavyweight title. And the funny thing is with the junior heavyweight title, that belt is so prestigious. I mean, if you go back on that and you look at some of the champions, the people that have held that, you can go back as far as Bret Hart, you can go back as Dynamite. I mean, it's an incredible title, and the guys that win that belt, they are no small feat at all. Absolutely prestigious title right there. But that to me it's going to be a great card. I'm looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom, Matt. And the thing with me, Matt, I've been like, I need to go to a WrestleMania. I keep saying I'm going to go to WrestleMania, but the more I see Wrestle Kingdom, I'm thinking, God, this thing's getting bigger and bigger. And I guess if you're a purist to the wrestling, you'd probably go for the Japanese because you just guaranteed a certain flavour there of what you're going to get. Plus, as well, I would love to Tokyo as well, so I get that as a bonus as well. But Matt, for you, Wrestle Kingdoms, are they getting bigger each year? This thing's going on because it just seems like to me there's more buzz about it than there ever was these days.
Oh yeah, they are definitely going from strength to strength. And where we talk sometimes about the lack of competition and why wrestling can go stale, and particularly with WWE, I feel like further down the line, New Japan is going to be a bit of a worry for the WWE, especially if they find a way to access, the American market quite regularly. I know they have their own version of their network and that, but if they found a way to get some sort of regular kind of TV time out there, it could be really worrying. Because although it takes a little bit of getting used to, there's enough sort of American guys out there that can draw the interest for the American fans.
Yeah, I feel like New Japan could do so much more if they put more money in it, because I feel like if they did make their network, their equivalent of the WWE network, a little bit more easier accessible, I think they'd get loads more people subscribing to it. Because trust me, when these WWE haters, whenever they get fed up after a pay-per-view, like the Royal Rumble probably, there's always a downfall after that. Right, I'm screw the network, in anger. That'll be the moment they go, I'm going to have the New Japan instead. But I just feel like the New Japan one, it has to be better accessed for the... for us to be able to understand it. Like, I feel if they get that right, They could easily have more, and I feel like they just need to get more promotion. The stuff they do with Ring of Honor is excellent because that gives them that exposure, but I feel like there's more as well.